I want to give all our kids boyfriends, but better boyfriends.
I really like the selection of words you used throughout this whole chat. Instead of you using the word difficult, you used the word challenging.
Back to fear. This subject, we were 20, and only 3 of us passed. So mathematics is not about numbers. It is what numbers can do in our daily life. Stop doing numbers. Remember, I'm working with kids. So I have to win them before I give them mathematics. He said, I saw the guy who was presenting there, that young learner. He's the most problematic learner in our school. So how did you change the learner? So coaching is you walk with them, you show them. When you think they are now competent, you leave them on their own. And you are not special until we see your speciality.
What's happening, everybody? Here's another episode with your favorite Mr. Cater. This is going to be episode 2 of the CommuniCator Chat. And in today we are talking with Sese Lolilake. Yeah, we are told to say Se before. And today he will be telling us about the whole story of how the Redefining Foundation started and the now and what happened in the previous jobs and obviously the whole upbringing up until today. So without having to waste much of your time, can you please maybe just introduce yourself a little bit, Seselo, and then we can just kick it from there.
Yes, good day. Thank you, Andy, for hosting me. I am Selolelake from a village called Khabalatsane, next to Garankuwa. I'm a married man. I've got 4 kids. So I'm a husband to Mutsei Kau. Mutsei Lilake now after being married. I'm a full-time maths and science coach. And I did my matric or my schooling at my local village, Khabalatsane. So I did the whole primary school in Khabalatsane. Went to Mirakhasi High School. At that time, the primary I did or I schooled in, his name is called Motsile Waboraro Primary School. Then proceeded to Mirakhasi. After Mirakhasi, like any other person, I didn't pass maths very well. So I had to work a little bit at Lanak. And then I decided to go back to school at the age of, I was turning 22 in that year, so that I can better my life. And then I went there. I had to plead with the principal because I was old and I think the syllabus changed. But because of Learning Channel, which was on TV on that time, I was helped by an old man called William Smith. I think most people will be familiar with the guy himself, the master of mathematics. I've never seen anyone, even today, who is doing mathematics like William Smith. The guy changed my mind. Remember, we were told that maths is difficult, maths it's only for certain families, only these people can pass mathematics. But William Smith, he changed my life. For just a background, remember William Smith was a lecturer at FET University. And then the guy from Sowetan, he then went to William Smith and said, William Smith, can you also help learners in villages, townships? And then he then agreed. Then he started helping people. And I think that guy, because of him today, I can do maths better than the way I used to do it before. So after matric, I then proceeded to Technical in Pretoria by then. People will know it as Swan University of Technology today. Then I studied National Diploma in Chemical Engineering. And after I completed my S4, I couldn't get work. And I continue with my passion and my love of changing people's lives through maths and science.
So can I just disturb you there? I think when you were talking, I had so many questions, and I was like, just can I please maybe just circle back before we go to the university? Right, we will get there.
Okay.
But I just want to circle back from some of the points you've raised there. Right, I think you mentioned something of you going back to school at I think you said 22, if I didn't miss that, right?
Yes.
So, and you said you had to obviously make friends with the principal at that time. Do you think the factor of age kind of helped you to be a bit more serious with school And how did you think that factor of age kind of influenced the environment around you and other people as well to be serious about school?
Yes, maybe to answer you, yes, I went back to school and I was turning 22 in September that year.
Yes.
Then my principal, Mr. Kozokwani, was a very firm principal. I had to go and plead with him. But like you said, the age factor, I think, is the one which I gained momentum at the age of 22, and I knew exactly what I wanted. So I didn't go to school just to attend school. I wanted to go to school to change my life. And I already knew exactly which career I wanted to study. I wanted to study engineering. So I already knew what are the minimum requirements, what are the prerequisites, which these days we call admission point score, or the minimum requirement at the university. So yes, to answer you in short, I already knew exactly what I wanted to do. The age factor also helped me because I was more disciplined and had goals to achieve.
You know, whenever I talk to somebody who is talking a different story than mine, I like to get as much advice as possible, right? Either for me or for my nephews or for other people that might be watching our chat. It's how could you help maybe somebody who is still young and fresh, grade 9, and they need to choose what they need to do in grade 10 earlier on time? Because I believe the reason why you're doing what you're doing is to help a young child or a young kid to realize that the potential is within them and they need to make the decision as soon as possible or way much earlier. So what advice do you normally give around that to help somebody maybe choose the right stream to go for in grade 10, be serious about life at an early stage? I think maybe can you please just answer that before we move into how your high school life was in general?
You know, I chose to be a freelance math and science coach for exactly what you've asked. It is not only about the kids in grade 9 or lower grades. It's about the environment at large. When I say environment at large, it is to encourage communities that math is not for certain families. Imagine if you are a mother and you tell your child that you'll never pass mathematics. No one has ever passed mathematics in our family. So I started this so people must know that math is doable, regardless of your family background, regardless of what is happening. But when coming to choosing careers in grade 9, it is important for our kids to understand that there are many careers of which math is the minimum requirement. So if you do math and physical science, you can do any career in South Africa. Let me give you a scenario. If you do math lit, remember we've got 3 maths in our country. We've got math lit, we've got mathematics, we've got technical mathematics. So let's say you do math lit and accounting, and you pass both math lit and accounting at 100%. You cannot follow a career in economic sciences. You cannot become a chartered accountant. But if you do mathematics and history, and you pass mathematics maybe at 60%, and you don't have accounting at all, you will be accepted in chartered accounting. So it is important that these kids, before they even reach grade 9, we tell them about careers and we expose them to careers. Because sometimes we choose careers on papers and then we don't know exactly what the career is all about. So it is important that those who are knowledgeable or those who pursue those careers, they must go back and tell learners what a career is all about. Because sometimes learning a career on paper and they just say you're going to earn a lot of money, but you don't have heart and passion for that career. It's a problem.
Big
That is
problem.
why you enter some surgeries, you find a medical doctor, but you can see that this person is not a medical doctor. You go and get an engineer, you can see that this guy is not an engineer. On paper, he's an engineer, but practically, the person does not have love and passion for this. So we need to make sure that these kids, they know about careers, because most of the people are choosing careers, but they don't know what they're choosing. They'll only learn and know more about that at work. They don't even have a picture of what that career is all about. Grade 9 is important that people must know that is the last grade whereby learners will do natural science, will do generic mathematics. In grade 10, we start what we call further education and training. So in further, we call it FET. So in FET, that's where you choose your subject. And those subjects, it must be interlinked with the career you're going to study in future. So if somebody is doing grade 9, it means you are moving first level of matric, because FET is grade 10, 11, and 12. So it's important for learners in grade 10 to make sure that they understand what they want to study. But it is very important that at least mathematics must be one of the subjects. When I say mathematics, I mean pure mathematics, because we don't know what is going to happen as a learner. You might not have money to further your studies in higher learning institutions, but you can have learnerships. I work with learnerships, which we'll talk about as we proceed with this. You can get learnership at the age of 18, and then companies can give you skill, and then if you are lucky enough, you can get employed and start a career with matric maths and science. Thank you, Andy.
Yeah. Maybe just to extend on the point you said there, right? You are emphasizing the importance of having maths as part of your subjects anyway, because and I see this whole pattern going as well with like the big CEOs of big companies like Microsoft, Google, and all those kind of things. Those guys, most of them are coming obviously from the stream of engineering, and in the engineering, we definitely know it's maths and physics, right? So I do see why you are saying that, because it's like if you can solve a problem, almost any problem can be solved by you, whether it's a journalism problem or it's a software problem or it's just a teaching problem in general. You can be able to do that. But I want us to touch based on your grade 10 and to grade 12, right? I know you've given us a little bit about how serious you were at school. Can you please just maybe tell us your general experience in grade 10 to grade 12, and maybe what were some of the most difficult challenges you had came across, and how did you go about them?
My challenges, or the challenges which I come across when I coach grade 10 to 11. Is that
No, your challenges. We want to put you in the picture. I think what people don't understand in many cases when they see people like you and I and other people who are looking like their career is doing pretty well, who are living their career doing well, they think we never came across any challenges, and it has just been like sailing and all those kind of things. So I just want to kind of understand, maybe from your time, maybe try to roll back and then maybe educate us a thing or two at that time, at that when you were doing your grade 10 to grade 12, and maybe how old did you do in your grade 12 as well? That would be important.
Okay. Thank you very much. At that time, grade 10, now we used to call it standard 8. So it was standard 8, 9, and 10. Standard 10 is what today we call grade 12. And then standard 8 is what today we call grade 10. It was not as easy as today. I used to walk to school for a long distance, and we never had this scholar buses or scholar transport at that time. So we used to walk, going to school without any lunch box. We used to call it scaftini. So we didn't have a scaftini, meaning lunch box. And I remember when I was in grade 11, my father passed away, and he was the only source of income. So it was very difficult. And my mother was a domestic worker or a helper at Garangua Zone 8, working for a doctor, some doctor in Garangua there. So it was very difficult. So basically, I went to grade 12 with no one working at home. I started 10 by then, which was very difficult. But that, for me, it encouraged me. It was like an inspiration that I must not relinquish. I must work very hard so that I can change my life. I remember by that time, the house which we used to live on or in, we had to put some stones on top of the house. And then those stones, when I became a process controller at Sasol, I realized that this thing was a safety hazard. It was, they call it line of fire. Line of fire, it means anytime, any second, something big can come, fatality or a serious injury. So it was not an easy journey for me, because remember those days we used to buy books. It's not like today. We used to buy books at school, every
Yes.
book, being it a book which you're going to write on, being a textbook or any book we used to buy. We used to pay school fees.
Mm-hmm.
In matric, before you write the exam, we used to buy to pay what you call exam. You pay school fees, but for you to write matric, you must also pay what you call exam fee. So I think today things are much better and easier than when I was in matric, because I think I did my first matric in 1988, and then it was tough, very tough those days. And our kids must realize this. In those days, people had their own schools. Coloureds had their own schools. White had their own schools. Indians had their own schools. Today, we have one curriculum, CAPS. It doesn't matter where you are. So even if you are in a village, you are writing exactly the same exam as a white child in Sandton, unless the white child is in AB.
Yes.
But there are private schools which are writing CAPS, and people don't know about that. So the education system is better. Our kids get food from the school. We didn't get food from the school. They get books from schools. We didn't get that. They then pay school fees if the school is a quintile 1 up to 3. I mean, things are different from back then. But what is important is our kids must be more serious, because these days there are more people who are educated. The competition is very high. So you need to be the best of the best for you to have the best or to become a best employee.
Yes. You know, there's something that you said that I want to go back to statements back, right? It looks like the best win for you during that time was your mindset. It's like you kind of set your mindset differently, which I mean, you explain things like difficulties. I mean, as well to some of us when my elders talk about they walked to school, it sounds like a fairy tale. It sounds like a very impossible story. But then it looks like you said you went to school walking. There were some difficulties that you came across. You had to go back to school and all those kind of things. So what I'm getting throughout the whole thing is just mindset. Maybe was one of the important things that kind of helped you throughout the university, the high school side, right? You also explained something around diversity, to say what we are doing is it's actually diverse. It's like it's there. It's being done by so many people, and whether you are in Limpopo or whether you are in Gauteng, we are basically just doing the very same thing. So let's quickly transition into the university and maybe help us understand what type of university or college did you go to, if you went to any, and maybe how was the impact of different syllabus at you like, and or maybe how did it impact you? Of course, for us it's easier because the syllabus is the same. The same person who's doing this thing in Johannesburg is doing the very same in Limpopo. So could you please maybe just take me through how did you handle this college or higher learning after you passed matric?
Yes. Okay, thank you, Andy. Remember, I went to university after my second matric. So it was 1988. I worked in between. Then I resigned at work, went back to school, like I've said, when I was turning 22. And it was 1991. I couldn't get any space. Then I think in 1993, then I got an upgrading at University of Pretoria, Turkish. It was very difficult. It was very difficult. Difficult because some of the lectures there couldn't express themselves in English. We were the first English classes there. So it was very tough. So you'll find that you are in the class, and then the lecture is a professor but cannot express himself or herself in English. And we had exchange students from other countries and other people who are English speaking people. So they used to mock at these lectures, and the lectures will just decide not to come to our classes. In engineering, some of us, we didn't know even the types of pencils, 0.5, 0.3, 0.5. We've never been around the drawing board. So it was tough, very tough. That it's like we are starting school, grade 1 again, especially in terms of engineering. And then there was computer programming, which some of us, we've never even touched a computer, not even computer literacy. So it was very tough at the University of Pretoria. And some courses, especially the drawing and other courses, we battled a lot. Most of us, we then decided to go to the then Technical in Pretoria to complete the same course, which was easier because if you look at engineering, I don't know if it's still like that at university and University of Technology because things have changed. But at university, you don't do chemical engineering only. You have a little bit of mechanical, you have a little bit of other disciplines of engineering. And at Technicon is specialized because the books I used at the University of Pretoria is the same book I used at TUT by then, or Technical in Pretoria by then. But I didn't do other things which I did at the University of Pretoria. So meaning I was more into chemical engineering. I was not doing other disciplines a lot like at university. So things became a little bit easier until I completed the Technical in Pretoria. Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if I answered you there.
Yeah, you did. I'm going to come with a few more questions around this, right? So you mentioned about the importance of doing more practical than theory. I know people always say it's always important to do theory, but as well, it's also important to do practical as well. In your view, if we are to put in a ratio point, right, what would you suggest be the ratio of practical versus theory in any course, be it chemical engineering, software engineering, teaching, and all those kind of things? What would you suggest would be maybe the best ratio there?
I would say maybe practical must be more, maybe 60-40. Let me tell you why am I saying, maybe I must expatiate why am I saying that. I went to Technical in Pretoria, completed there. Okay, I couldn't get job until I got job from, I think, 1995, 96. I got job in 2002 at Sasol. Then when we start at Sasol, you find these old people, they don't have metric, but let me tell you, they've got knowledge. They don't operate a reactor of 2-liter reactor. They operate a reactor which produce sometimes 80,000 liters of petrol per hour. You see now, they don't know exothermic reaction on paper. They know it practical. You see, so we are better even if it was in service training or a practical, because now you need to take what you've learned, the theory, and put it into practical. And the person who must help you does not know the theory. You know the theory. This guy knows the practical. And remember, you come there and you think you are better. You are a peacock or a peahen because you think you are better than these people. Because somebody told you that, hey, you are better because you did engineering. So first thing, some of us didn't even greet these old people. We saw them as inferior or nothing because we thought, that's where I say we need to be educated. And when you get educated, you must come with wisdom. You need to come with wisdom. How do I treat other people? So we battled. These people, they would choose. If you've greeted them well and you treated them with some respect, they will give you the knowledge. Because remember, they cannot optimize, even if they've been producing, but they are not producing optimal. But they need you to come and tell them, hey, this temperature, you see, you've reached maximum because of this and this and this, but you still have a leeway here of getting another 10% of your product. You understand? So to answer you, I would say we need practical, especially in engineering, but not only there. Even at school, we must not be too theoretical. Our syllabus, these CAPS, people think CAPS is easy. For me, CAPS is one of the most challenging. I don't want to use the word difficult. curriculum.
I love
But
that.
it is too theoretical. You see, so people are solving things, but they don't know what they're solving. Even today, people are solving X. But if I can ask them, this X is the problem. Where is the
Yeah.
problem? What are you solving? A
I,
simple
I,
example.
I think we are
X
getting
squared.
to the legendary conversation. Now let's talk about the solve for X, please.
Yes.
Yes.
Let me give you a simple example. I can go to any school from grade 9 up to 12. They will have this equation. X squared minus 4 equals to 0. I say solve for X. They all get X equals to 2 or X equals to negative 2. But I ask them, remember this is a parabola. It has a lot of X. It has a lot of X. Then it goes to infinity. From negative infinity to positive infinity. Then I asked this person, which X are you solving? No one will tell me. The X, you solve X where Y is 0. It means where it cut the horizontal line, that's where you solve the X. But we are doing a lot of problems. We get them right, but we don't know what we do. And that must change in our country. We need to change. When we solve for X, we must know why we're solving for X. Where is the problem? Like at work, the pump, centrifugal pump is not reciprocating. I need to know where is the problem. I need to check the suction, the pressure, the discharge pressure, and check everything until I call other disciplines. Maybe the problem is electrical, or it's mechanical, or it is instrumentation. You see? So we need to solve problems at early age, and we must stop doing numbers. We must make sure that we solve problem with numbers. So mathematics is not about numbers. It is what numbers can do in our daily lives.
I think you came with the real world application of X, but I heard you talking about X so many times in such a way that people would just be like, oh, it's another mathematical explanation. But can we take maybe one real world example? I know you just made an example about in chemical engineering, but then I want us to grab maybe let's just grab a door and maybe it's not working or it's not unlocking. So what would be the X in maybe us solving or fixing the door, and how can somebody see the equation obviously in mathematics in that way? So I just need like a real world application of solving for X that anyone can relate to, because I believe everybody has a door almost at their home. So yeah, let's say it's not working. I think let's take it that okay, Cecil, we have a door that is not working properly. What is happening is when I try to open it, it just kind of jams. What would be our solve for X there, and maybe what would be some what do we call these things? Is it not debugging, the troubleshooting? Thank you very much. Yes, can you please maybe just let's explain in that context, please?
Yeah, maybe let's talk about X, but I'll maybe add another thing whereby people can apply mathematics very easy. The door is not working, so we need to start. Why is it not working? We need to check the hinges. It can be a problem. Maybe the hinges are not very fastened to the wood itself, isn't it? You can check the machine. What if the machine itself, that lever inside there, is not working? You understand? So you need to check everything until you get the one which is causing the problem. Because by the time you start troubleshooting, you don't know what is the root cause. You understand? So you need to start with easy things. Is the lever working? Yes, it is working. Are the hinges exactly the way they're supposed to be? Yes, they are. So what can be the problem? Is the door not touching the floor? You understand? So X can be something which we can touch with our hand. If I say 2x is equal to 10, the X there will be 5. It only means how many 5s in 10. So if there are 10 people, if there are 2 people and they have to share 10 rand, why are they taking 5 rand, 5 rand? It's because they are X themselves.
Yes.
The X is them. Each of them will get 5 rand, 5 rand. That is X.
You mentioned the 3 main things you need to include in your statement whenever you're formulating your question. Why is it not working? What is not working? I'm also going to add the last one to say, how is it working, kind of a thing. So basically, any problem solving needs to have those three questions instead of just, formulating a statement, but rather ask a question and then trying to answer that question takes you to like a problem solving, and obviously solving for X in that case. So that's what people need to have when they're solving for X. When you were working as a chemical engineer, I mean, why did you quit?
I worked as Sasol and then I was in process. Then after some years, I was promoted to learning practitioner. Learning practitioner is like a training officer. So it was my responsibility to make sure that Sasol had a right talent. Obviously, math and physical science comes into place now again.
Mm-hmm.
So we used to recruit learners with math and science, and then we take them from the street and make sure that eventually they can produce petrol from naphtha. Naphtha is the same as crude
Mm-hmm.
oil. So we'll take them through the processes, how to operate the equipment, how to do troubleshooting of equipment if it is not delivering, or if the equipment has failed, what has caused the equipment to fail, and then how to make equipment safe. And if they are safe, how to make them to be operated optimally. And then that's what I was doing at Sasol. After so many interviews that I'm quitting Sasol. So I quitted in 2014, December. And I remember January 2015, the manager then asked me to come and help because I was responsible also for completing learnership documents for learners, so that if the company needed to absorb them, then the company will absorb them after they finish documentation, maybe level 1 to 4 of NQF by then. We'll see. So then I quitted because I wanted to be on my own. I wanted to interact with anyone. Like now I'm interacting with anyone. If somebody says, come and help in Limpopo, I drive 600 km to Limpopo. If somebody says, come and help with my kids, I help with the kids. But what love is the foundation which I've started. Because with the foundation, we'll be able to help learners who are coming from very needy families.
Yes.
And we can also help schools, quintile 1 up to 3 schools. And then it's not only that, I also want to educate the people in education, the principal and the district directors and the second managers, that it is not about where you stay. You can produce good results even if you are from a remote place.
Yes.
Because even them, they still believe that people in education themselves, they still believe that better schools are in urban areas. That is why you hardly get a math teacher in a rural area teaching his or her own children. You'll hardly get them, because we still have this thing that then white schools are better than us, which I don't want to hear that. Because let me explain why am I saying this. In the past, the white educators or teachers, they had their own colleges and universities, and we as black people will have our own schools whereby we'll get our matric and then we go to our own colleges. These days, we attend the same syllabus, same higher learning institution. So we need to change, all of us.
Yes.
And when I say all of us, especially professionals. The problem is not, remember, educated people, they don't know. Professionals, we're supposed to know. So I don't blame any granny in a village there. I blame
Us for who
software
knows.
engineers, chartered accountant.
Yes.
Yes.
Because
we are spectators in this. You understand? We are onlookers and we are pointing fingers. But what is our role?
Hey. I have so many comments and questions to follow up on the things that you said. And I 100% agree with what you said. To say you blame the professionals, you blame the person who's working at a certain corporate who has this knowledge that in general they can just easily share with the people who are from their neighborhood easily without having to, pay any money. Whenever they are around, they can go to the schools, talk with the kids, maybe plug them with
Yes.
some other resources that maybe the kids never knew about, and that costs 0 cents. And I think for me, that's the reason why I created this podcast, because I'm like, I know that there is probably somebody out there who's a professional who wants to tell these people or the learners about their life and then their career journeys and all those kind of things, but they feel like they don't have the platform. I'm like, okay, cool, let me create a platform and then get other people who can be able to share such. I also heard you talking about the private schools, the public schools, and the mindset that maybe people have of feeling like they are not powerful to produce certain results from a certain type of a school. For me, I also look at it, I'm like, no. You're thinking in reverse as a person. If you think because your school doesn't have a proper door, then you won't be able to compete with the school in Gauteng, in KwaZulu-Natal, in other areas that are already sorted, then you're just thinking in reverse. Because for me, as any problem solver, you need to be thinking of, okay, cool, if this is what the world perceives this, how can I change the world view on this type of things and maybe produce better results with what I have or what I know so far. For me, that took me to the one thing that I think you spoke about on the fly, right? Fear. Can you explain fear in your own words, and not just explain fear, but rather how we can stop inciting fear to the people underneath, or people who are looking up to us, and not just that. So I'm coming with a few touch points here because I want you to just share your knowledge from there, and as well to the people who have made it in life, and their sole game is to incite fear as well on other people instead of attracting them, and try to work with them so that they can build at a bigger scale. Can you please explain fear in your own words?
Before I go to fear, let me just elaborate on what you just said about we don't understand the difference between private schools and public schools. And when I say we, again, I'm talking about professionals. Private schools, some of them, they write the same paper as public schools. And then there are private schools which write IEB, independent paper, independent examination board, IEB. You see? But now, those schools, if you check the scope of work for IEB and CAPS, there is a thin line. There's nothing, almost the same. And then we've got schools which are writing Cambridge, which is an international certification or qualification, and that is different from the two I mentioned before. So I've seen many people, they don't understand what is this. Cambridge is international, but it's the most dangerous one and very expensive in many cases. Why am I saying that? In Cambridge, they don't do physical science. They do physics, meaning they have physics and chemistry as the subject. So let's say you have money and you pay a lot of money and you didn't check those things. Your child is only doing physics. That child will never be accepted in any university in the country because the child will never meet the minimum requirement. In South Africa, we are doing physical science, meaning combination of physics and chemistry. So I've seen many learners, even my friends these days, but at least I've spoken to them and we change it very fast. Go to Cambridge, they don't check what is happening there. Remember, if your child is in Cambridge, it means your child is like studying abroad. So if it comes to or to use ET, there must be some documentation. They must treat you as a foreign, you have foreign qualification.
Yeah.
Okay, let me go back to fear. You are an engineer or a medical doctor, or you have PhD or a doctor. You go to school and you tell learners that, this subject, we were 20 and only 3 of us passed. And I was doing higher grade. These kids, they don't even know what is higher grade. So you tell them that only special people, only 3 passed. So the fear is instilled to our kids by all of us. Like what I've said before, even parents, they will tell learners that, who are you to pass mathematics in our family? You see? So we need to change. The teacher, I'm a teacher. I've got 30 learners, and I tell them, only 10 will pass in my class. Now, during the holidays, I met a curriculum implementer of mathematics in Mpumalanga. So when we had a chat, he said, paper 2 is very difficult. And I stopped him there. I said, no, sir. Please stop there. If you say it's difficult, what are you saying to your teachers? You say they must come with an excuse and tell you that it is difficult. That is why we are not performing.
Yes.
And paper 2 of mathematics is the easiest. It only has 4 things: trigonometry, analytical geometry, equivalent geometry, and statistics. 4 things. 4 things. While algebra, which people think is easy, it has so many topics. You see, so the fear which we instill in our kids is the one which is going to lead to most of the kids. They will drop mathematics, and they are dropping mathematics. They go for math lead because math lead, when it was sold as if it's an easy mathematics. And I don't think it was the main purpose of math lead. Math lead is there so that if you do history and then you're going to become a lawyer, and somebody comes to you and say, I'm going to paint your house and I charge 60 rand per square meter, you know exactly what that person is speaking about. You understand? If somebody is going to tile your floor and he speaks about square meters, you know exactly. Or maybe you are a lawyer and then you need to venture into a business where they sell things in volumes. When you talk about a cubic meter, you know exactly what they're talking about. It was not it was not supposed to be used for what I see people using it for. Many schools, when a learner has challenges with mathematics, they say he must go to math lead because people want a good pass.
I really like the selection of words you used throughout this whole chat. Instead of you using the word difficult, you used the word challenging. I think instead of using another word, I wrote down a few times here. You do always correct those words and make people understand that you're not just saying difficult and then you pass on. So could you please tell me that good selection of words plays in reducing the fear or the difficulty level of anything in life? Because what I'm trying to get here is, I mean, if you come and say that this problem is way too difficult, and if you come and say this problem is just a bit challenging, you would see the person would approach it in different ways and probably with even more confidence because it's just challenging, it's not difficult. So could you please maybe educate maybe teachers or guardians or brothers, sisters, whoever, the power of, correct word selection whenever you're constructing a statement, more especially on things that are perceived fearful by people.
If you see anything in life coming very easy and it's easily doable, you must know that it won't last for long. You understand? So you need to sweat and work hard for anything which is going to change your life. You understand? So it doesn't mean if it becomes challenging, it means it is difficult. It only say you're going to be rewarded and you're going to benefit out of it. You see? So when we use words, we need to use the correct words. You understand? Let's say your child does not do well in mathematics. Don't pressurize the child and say, I told you that the subject is difficult and what. Try to find out where are the problems. Because even if I'm teaching mathematics and I'm coaching maths every day, my kids are not they are not me. They are not me. So I still have to see how are they learning, their learning style. You understand? And try to rectify that. But I'm not going to put them under pressure and put some words that, hey, you chose the wrong subject because you're not good enough. So it is important that we use the correct word so that those words must give courage. They must inspire whoever we communicate with.
You like calling yourself a coach instead of a tutor. Can you tell us why? And then we'll start getting into the depth of how you deliver your lessons to your learners.
But let me comment on something which you said before. If you are a chartered accountant, you get paid for what you did or for what you do. If you're an engineer at any place, you get paid for what you're doing on a daily basis. Even if somebody is collecting refuse at any municipality, that person is also doing the same job as you. It's just that it's a different level. You only impact communities if you do something extra on what you're doing on daily life. And I think I'm happy that you mentioned that. What I mean is, if you're a doctor, you are the same as the person who's picking refuse, because both of you are important. You understand? But if this guy who's collecting refuse can go to a school and talk about environmental protection or pollution, that person, in terms of community, is better than a medical doctor. Because that person is going back to the communities and trying to impart knowledge. So let me go back to why am I a coach? When I was busy doing courses at Sasol, and remember I did assessor, moderation, you see. So they distinguished very well between a teacher, a lecturer, and a coach. You see, a coach is when I take a learner with metric and I introduce a learner to a pump or a compressor, and I tell the learner that this is a reciprocating compressor, and I teach this learner all the parts of the compressor and what the compressor does, and how do you stop the compressor from maintenance. And after that, I take a checklist, and the learner must show me by doing it that I understand or I understood exactly what you said. So the learner must go through all the steps, and I take this learner and I deem this learner competent or not yet competent. Remember, in real life, we don't have fail. We have competent or not yet competent. So if you say not yet competent, it means what is it? Where is the gray hair? How can I help this learner to become competent? So the coach, you are doing it with your learners. You prepare them. You don't come with surprises. You prepare them. They know exactly what is expected from them. They know the content. In real life, learners can appeal that Mr. Lelage is our learning practitioner, but he wants us to do this, and he has never ever coached us on this. So that's where I'm coming with the coach. It is different from just coming with something which you've never taught in a class and you give it to learners and expect them to get 100%. So coaching is you walk with them, you show them, and then when you think they are now competent, you leave them on their own.
There's this thing in the workplace wherein you find maybe a very senior person, maybe in their 50s or 60s, making friends with a quite new junior person who's like in their 20s, right? And in many cases, I've seen those relationships and friendships and colleagueship really working pretty well, right? And for me, it always sings relatable. So how do you make yourself relatable, putting your characteristics, the person you are, the way you teach things, and the way you view the world, and dishing out to the young kings and queens?
You remind me of what happened in one school in Limpopo. So I went there. It is my first day. Then I was introduced by the principal. I worked with the kids there, or with the learners. And after, I think it was on the third day, the principal called me and said, Selelage, what is it which you did to my kids? He said, I saw the guy who was presenting there, that young learner. He's the most problematic learner in our school. So how did you change the learner? So remember, I'm working with kids. And I must know that they are kids. So I have to win them before I give them mathematics. They must have this sense of this man is going to help us. I must change their mindset. You spoke about fear. If I go to schools, many learners, they already lost hope because of the fear which was instilled. So I cannot just go and present. I need to change the mindset. I need to make them feel free so that they can talk to me. But at the same time, they must know that we need to respect one another. So it doesn't mean when I say learners must be free, they must do as they wish. My classes, I'm very strict in my classes, very strict. But let me tell you, my kids are free to talk and write on the board. They can communicate. Not only that, some learners in the past, not even now, maybe 20 years back, a learner will phone me and say, I have a problem at home. I want to commit suicide. And the learner tells me, before They even tell the parent. And then I intervene. When I was at Sasol, I knew so many things more than the managers themselves. The youngsters, they would come in my office and say, Mr. Lelak, I'm resigning because I have financial challenges. So I want to take my pension and just fix my financial challenges. So I become open to people and I make them feel that life is life. And then I share with them my life experiences so that they can also share their life experiences with me. So I become so open and people must talk about life because, hey, we don't know what is going to happen in life. So you need to share your stories so that people can open and see you as a person who has challenges. Otherwise, people will see you as this person who has everything. They see your car and they think everything is easy because we hide these things and we don't share them with the communities, especially my community. Number one, it is my learners. It is my family, then my learners or my clients. Thank you, and
peer pressure in high school. The reason why I'm going back mostly in high school, because that's where I feel like it's the heart of it. It's when somebody's just starting puberty, they don't know what they want to do with their life. At least in university, you can make your own decisions. For me, I feel like any bad decision you make in university, it's not because you don't know much, because mostly you are exposed to so many good things, right? But then in high school, this whole concept of peer pressure and people living fake life and people looking down on some others, bullying, and there's many other teenage problems that they're coming across and are not really being addressed, right? So, but then, what's your view, and maybe what would you suggest maybe would need to be done as well by both the people who are putting peer pressure on others and the people who are receiving the pressure as well, maybe in the high school stance, be it a friend. Sometimes it's a friend that doesn't know they're putting pressure on you, because I'm coming to say, hey, my uncle Silo came back with the Benz yesterday. But from another kid house, they don't really have that, right? It's not a bad story to share, but then how can they read the room and try to accommodate everybody else and live with each other?
peer pressure is the tough one. Remember, kids, especially teenagers, they can easily listen to their friends than their parents. So what is said by people, especially friends on the street, they take it more serious and important than parents. And I always talk because I've got teenagers in my house, you see. So what is important is we need to speak with our kids. We need to speak with them. I had a problem where one of my kids wanted an iPhone, maybe not even one demand, because one of the girls around had an iPhone. And I had to tell my kids that, you know what, you guys see the houses and the cars, but maybe one day go and ask the owner, if possible, do you have papers for those cars? Are those cars yours, or do they belong to the bank? You understand? So we need to teach our kids that they must not compare themselves with other children. The way I manage my family, it is not the way somebody is managing the family. So when I go to classes, we speak a lot about this. Please make sure that I even ask learners. When I go to school, I ask learners, with whom are you staying? Are you staying with a granny? Yes. I already know what is going. Where are the parents? Then some of the kids, they even cry. My mother, I don't even know my father. And then my mother passed away in this year. That's why I'm staying with this. So I would know exactly what to speak with this learner. And I would know exactly how to inspire these kids. You understand? Because those are the most, they are the weakest. Those are the kids who can come and get sugar daddies because they want to be at the same level with other kids. And those are the kids we need to take care of. We, again, as professionals, even if we have Mercedes Benz, let us tell these kids how you bought this Mercedes Benz. Tell them how you tell them that you also one day slept without food or empty stomach if needs be. Tell them that at tertiary, I used to wait there and my parents couldn't even send money to buy food. Because me at tertiary, I stayed at self-catering. Sometimes I wouldn't have food and my friends used to buy me food. But you also have to know what kind of friends do you have. And I know many people who are big bosses, but they don't come from affluent families. The big boss, chief executive of Sasol, Simon Baloyi, is coming from a village next to Shoshangube. The big boss of African Rainbow, Philip Tobias, is coming from Sebuke. The big boss of ESCOM, chief executive, is pulled in Maboloka and Soho in Macau. So I tell them that it is only for today. Don't lose hope. Work very hard. One day you might be a big boss. Yeah. One day you might be a producer of a company which is competing with Nike. It's not wrong today that you don't own 3,000 Nike. Yep. No. But because our kids, they get influence. They want to be the same as other learners. Papa, can you buy a Nike? They even tell you which Nike. They even tell you which Adidas. Yes. You understand? Yeah. But we need to channel them. And we need to tell them that, did you see when you go home, your cousins, their parents are not working. They don't have Nike. So you don't go there and become special. Yep. And you say, each time you say, my father bought this and that, because it might not go well with the cousins. You understand? You don't go there and you are treated as you understand? You're not white because you've got bands, you're still an African. 100%. And you're not special until we see your speciality. So we need to go and do this thing again. And again. It is upon us, and we here, I'm saying professionals.
Yeah. Okay, that's a big challenge to the professionals. I'm gonna do the clip of this and send it to all my professional friends, all my doctors and engineers. I'll send them, and they'll be like, "This is what we need to do, and this is the mindset we need to have at least." I mean, I do 100% agree with everything you said there. And maybe just to add, right? For me, I see as much as you need to motivate people and show them what's possible. Remember to be humble throughout the whole situation, and don't make the conversation as well about you, but rather make it a conversation. Talk to somebody, make your point, and let them make a point, make the point, and then make the and it should be like that. Because I feel like in many cases, conversations that are meant to inspire and take somebody from A to B, they get received bad because I want to be the dominant one in the conversation instead of conversating with you to say, I can't just come and judge say like I and say, well, say like here and say, well, I eat every day and whatever. Why don't you eat every day? And then as you're busy telling me a story, I jump in and then I don't even get your point of view, of such things. You mentioned something around you had to leave to be from a facilitator to back being a coach, right? So for me, I look at it as from a point of you had to kind of take 2 steps back to take 4 steps forward, which I think that was a very bold move, right? So with that, and including the nation builder thing, and maybe the impact that might have had in your personal life, of course, to make this big change come into reality. Can you just tell us maybe what it took or maybe what it takes to do that, and maybe how did you make sure that that process was smooth?
Thank you again. Like you said, I've been doing this before even I was employed by Sasol. Mm-hmm. In 2001, I was nominated or recognized as Sowetan Old Mutual and SABC Community Builder of the Year or Nation Builder. Mm-hmm. By the same guy. Class is the guy who asked William Smith to go and help communities in rural areas, farms and townships. That decision of William Smith and AgriCluster, mm-hmm. I think it was indebted in me in such a way that I wanted to share it, mm-hmm. with other people. Hence, I quitted in 2015. I already said I quitted because the knowledge of the learners we interviewed, mm-hmm. for me, it was not up to scratch. They were too theoretical. They didn't know basic things of what is a reactor, what is happening in a reactor. Mm-hmm. Those are the small things. So I resigned so that I can impart knowledge. But when I say impart knowledge, when I started in 2015, it was more about helping learners. But I realized that there are many young educators. Educators is our teachers now who need help. So I started helping many young educators because I've realized something in education is not the same as in engineering. In engineering, when you pass or when you graduate at UCT or VETS, you are not an engineer. You are a junior or a junior engineer or trainee. We cannot just trust you and give you everything and then the plant will explode. So we give you a mentor and the mentor will take you all necessary things until you become a junior engineer and then you get promoted. In teaching, things are very different. Somebody graduate this year, and already next year, that person, some of them are already in grade 12, some of them are in grade 10. So there's no one who's having this poor young teacher and say, this is what we do in real life. Work has taught me something. Math is about efficiency. Efficiency is not about having a long sum. It's about having a sum which is very efficient because it's about money. It's about safety. If you take it too long, it might lead to explosion, catastrophe. You understand? So this is what I need to share with many educators. Not only that, I think I'm aging now. I've been doing this for years. That's why I have to pass baton to these young teachers and make sure that we've got, I'm not saying we don't have the right teachers, but imagine if somebody is on her own every day and we blame these teachers. We again, professionals, we blame these teachers. We don't know what is happening in there. Me, I'm there. I ask them, have you done this topic? Have you done Euclidean geometry at tertiary? No. So then my question is, how do I expect you to excel in this 40 plus minus 3 topic? 40 plus minus 3 marks. And this young teacher, because of the fear you said before, he or she grew up fearing Euclidean geometry. Now the poor teacher must stand in front of the learners and impart knowledge. And nobody has nurtured this teacher to be a champion of this Euclidean geometry. How do you expect this person to excel? Sometimes we talk, but me, I took the degree in teaching and what the teachers are teaching, and I know exactly which topics we are not doing well in the country. And I ask these teachers, why are you not doing well? Where do you need help? What causes this? Have you done this at tertiary? And with that, me being a coach, I'm here now to impart the knowledge. But I think I did a lot with learners. I think now I must elevate it to teachers because when I help learners, I don't solve the problem. It is just a symptom. If you help a teacher, you'll also have knowledge from them. It's about sharing knowledge. That's why my workshop is not, it is very clear. They are knowledge sharing workshops. How can we do it better? How can we do it effective and efficient? Yes.
You are building something way much bigger than Mr. Siloli like himself. This is a very big thing. This is a thing at a bigger, large scale. Like, yes, you can play your part, but we need you times 10 to be able to make sure that this gets to expand to the rest of South Africa, the rest of Africa, if that's where we need to do. So then how can somebody who is listening to us right now support this mission and work with you? If we have to be fixing engines, let's do that, even if they have to do it virtually and they're just telling us steer the ship this way, do this, and all those kind of things. What are the different ways that either a professional or somebody who has got access to funds or a network or anything, any resource that can help the foundation and the workshop get to where you want it to be, and at a bigger scale, and obviously still producing the very same quality? How can they help, and how can they jump in?
Okay, thank you very much. You just mentioned something. At my age, I want to multiply this exponential, meaning I want to impart knowledge to people who can still retain it when I'm not there. Any help. It's accepted. Like I've said, I need to multiply exponential. And the multiplication I'm talking about here is ensuring I help young educators so that they become confident in the class. They become composed in the class, and they become more competent in the class. So that when they are in the class, they are not intimidated by the situation in the class. They know exactly what to do, and they know how to handle any kind of a problem in the class. You understand? So I have started the foundation, and I refer to Rain in my Setswana. I speak Setswana because Kabalatsani we speak Setswana. I refer to Rain. Let us change. And when I say let us change again, I mean everybody. Those who are able to help with anything, they are more than welcome. That's why I say I refer to Rain. Those who used to instill fear, they must change. Those who believe because the school has 15 learners and you pay 10,000 per month, your child is in a good school. Let us change. So Arvutega means all of us must change. I feel, especially again, professionals. We take our kids to these schools, 15 learners in the class. All of a sudden, your child is doing mass lead, and then you become very depressed because you feel like you wasted money. It's not a matter of wasting money. It's about redefining a good school. We need to redefine a good school. And if we redefine it and we put geographical location or money or the color of the uniform or the school fees, then it's not a
So
good
did you just say the color of
A good
uniform
school
there?
must be a school. Yes, the color of the uniform.
Good.
You know, I was busy writing a book and I didn't finish it. One of the chapters is colorful uniform, colorless knowledge.
Eish.
So I'm busy writing that book, but I think I'm probably I could have finished that. Let me give you an example. In our country, let's say every year we have 1.5 million learners starting grade R or grade 1. Go and check how many learners are still doing mathematics in grade 10. Then you will tell me. And when I say learners, I don't speak about rural schools here. I'm speaking about even those schools, the most revered schools. If we started with 1.5 million and then only 400 learners write mathematics, are we doing well? Where are the rest? Because we cannot just come with statistics in grade 12 or in grade 10. The statistics must be, we started here, are we still like that now? Where are the rest? You see, so again, any individual, if you want to offer something, some offerings, you are more than welcome. Being monetary, maybe sometimes I'm going to Limpopo there, then we need some maybe flyers so that we can reach out more communities. I mean, there are so many things. The company must be modernized. I think I need to have a website, isn't it? I need to have a website so that people can see that they are dealing with a professional person. Because sometimes people become very skeptical when they speak to you and then they see that you are not at par with times. So people get skeptical that this guy, are we going to have the right knowledge and the right coaching from him?
Yes.
You understand? So there are things which I need to change.
That was that was a very, very different view to everything. I mean, I've learned so many things throughout this whole chat. But I think the one tagline that I can put this whole chat and you in general is, I think you wrote it here. You said changing the lot or a lot of beliefs and narratives or stigmas towards math and science. And for me, I would like to change that a little bit. Changing a lot of beliefs, narratives, or stigmas towards education. Because for me, I'm not just seeing it as a math and science coach, but rather as an education coach beyond what people just do almost every day. And I mean, I can say this so many times, but I really appreciate you joining us today and recording this. This is the information that honestly I would really have appreciated back then when I was still in grade 9, grade whatever, before I made the decisions that I made today. Not to say that I made the wrong decisions, but maybe it would have channeled my decisions to be way much better earlier and sooner than maybe a bit later in my life. Otherwise, I would like to say thank you very much, Mr. Sidlo, for having a chat with me. I did learn a lot. I was writing some stats around, the education stuff because I'm super interested in that whole education thing. And I feel like the more we know the numbers and the more we know the performance around it, we can make this big change that you are looking forward to do in the education space. Otherwise, thank you very much, and I thank you.
I think you are doing a good thing so that we can share. Sometimes we blame people, but people don't have time. But we must create time to know about these things. Then let's go and change stigmas. I want to give all our kids boyfriends, but better boyfriends. And those boyfriends is mathematics, and the second one is physical science. If our kids are going to fall in love with those people will take care of them in future. It can be very tough today, but just choose those boyfriends. They will never cheat you. They will never kill you. They will love you the way you love them. So please fall in love with the subject. This subject, if you fall in love with them, they will fall in love with you. And thank you very much, Andy. And I hope in future, I'll come back to you and say, I've secured a sponsorship or anyone who wants to walk this journey with you. Because this journey is going to impact South Africa and is going to change millions and millions of South Africans.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.